The pride is often described as a family, but in the world of the lioness, it is more accurately described as a biological syndicate. Every lick, every nuzzle, and every shared gaze, it's part of a silent contract. This is the foundation of their protective world. But what happens when the terms of that contract are challenged by an outsider? Unlike almost every other cat species on Earth, lionesses are hypersocial. This isn't for company, it is for tactical advantage. A solo lioness in the bush, she's a ghost. But a group of lionesses, that's a fortress. Consider the energy math. A lioness requires roughly 5 to 8 kilograms of meat per day just to maintain her baseline. To raise a litter, that number triples. When she hunts alone, her success rate hovers around 15%. But when she hunts within the contract, that number climbs. However, the contract isn't just about food, it's about the nursery. In this world, mother is a collective noun. We call it crèching. It is a system where the bonds of sisterhood override the individual's drive to favour only her own offspring. If a mother dies, the cubs don't necessarily perish. Another female steps in. This is the first layer of the unseen bond, the insurance policy against the wild. But this cooperation, it comes with a heavy price. To keep the peace, the lionesses must suppress their own competitive instincts. They live in a state of constant, low-level negotiation. If the bond breaks, the protection vanishes. And as we will see in the next chapter, there are forces constantly looking for those cracks in the armour. The presence of the male is often seen as the ultimate protection. But for the lioness, the male is her greatest gamble. Why does a creature as capable as a lioness tolerate the presence of a male who sleeps 20 hours a day and eats the lion's share of her hard-earned kills? It seems like a bad deal. If this were a simple partnership, she is being cheated. The protection she seeks from him isn't against the elements or other predators. It's against his own kind. This is the cold calculus of the savannah. The male lion is a nuclear deterrent. His primary job is not to hunt, but to occupy space, to be a physical barrier between the pride's cubs and the wandering nomads who would kill them, simply to reset the biological clock of the females. The lioness manages the male like a resource. She chooses which males to allow into her territory based on one thing: their ability to hold the line. It is a strategic alliance, not a romance. Think of the male as a heavy, expensive weapon system. He is costly to maintain, he is loud, and he takes up a lot of energy. But when the perimeter is breached, he is the only thing that can stop the total destruction of the pride's future. But here is the hidden detail. The lionesses are the ones who actually decide how long a male stays. If a male is too weak, they drive him out. They are the silent board of directors. He is the CEO who can be fired at any moment. This dynamic ensures that only the strongest security is hired to protect the nursery. But what happens when the security fails? What happens when the perimeter is breached and the king isn't there to help? That's when the lioness transforms from a strategist into a phantom. In the next few minutes, we'll look at the shadow phase, the most dangerous time in a lioness's life. When a lioness is about to give birth, she does something counterintuitive. She leaves the safety of the pride. She abandons the contract. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, she becomes a ghost. This is the shadow phase. She is at her most vulnerable, yet this isolation, It is her only way to ensure her cubs' survival. Lion cubs are born blind and helpless. If she kept them near the pride, the commotion, the smell, and the movement would draw every scavenger for miles. So she hides them. She moves them one by one, carrying them by the scruff of the neck to new locations every few days, just to stay ahead of the scent trail. During this time, she must hunt alone. Remember that 15% success rate? During the shadow phase, those stakes are life or death. If she fails to kill, she fails to produce milk. If she fails to produce milk, the lineage ends. This is the ultimate test of the unseen bond. Even though she is physically alone, she is still tethered to the pride. She listens for their roars in the distance. They provide a sonic map, showing her where it is safe to move and where the threats are. She is playing a high-stakes game of hide and seek with the entire world. Leopards, hyenas, even other lions are her enemies now. The stress of this period is etched into her physiology. Her cortisol levels spike, her senses sharpen to an impossible degree. She can hear the footfall of a jackal from 100 yards away. But the real challenge? How do you reintroduce vulnerable cubs to a pride of apex predators without them being killed by their own kind? That transition is a masterclass in social engineering. Bringing cubs back to the pride is like introducing a spark to a powder keg. Lions are driven by instinct, and an unfamiliar scent, it can trigger a fatal reaction. The mother doesn't just walk in, she uses a series of complex social cues, low grunts, specific tail positions, and submissiveness to signal her intent. She waits for the lead females to acknowledge her. This is where the unseen bonds we discussed are tested. If the pride accepts the cubs, they are instantly granted the protection of the collective. Watch the body language. The head rub? That's the most important gesture in the lion's world. It's a chemical handshake. By rubbing heads, they mix their scents, creating a pride perfume that identifies everyone as part of the same unit.